How's it going, everybody? Sessiion here. Welcome to a Dead by Daylight overview, kind of talking about from a survivor perspective how it feels like playing against the killers in this game. And today we have the Clown. Now, the Clown is a very interesting killer because, you know, he's got the two potions, right? The potions have different effects. There's never really a reason to use the second potion. The first one is annoying for sure, right? It's got that weird hindrance thing that works in the way that it does, and it kind of sucks to deal with, but it does do what it does. So I personally like fighting against Clown, but also there is a you know, it's a weird game of catch up for the Clown. Like, fighting against a Clown is interesting, right? His base functionality of using the pink potion to slow you down to catch up and hit you, you know, is it's a little bit underwhelming, just because, like, you know, you're playing against a Clown, you're running straight ahead for your life and just trying to deal with it, right? That's pretty much it for the most part. It's kind of unfortunately weird that he doesn't get to use his other potion, except for just being able to play catch up. I feel like because of how the killer functions right now, you don't really need to use the yellow potion for anything at all, especially because of the way that it works, right? You have to wait for the potions like Smoke and Cloud to turn yellow for you to benefit from the speed boost that comes from it. It's also only a movement speed boost. It's not like you can't use it to prep a gen break faster, or like a pallet, you know, thing faster. You can't. It's only for movement. I think that's so, like, anticlimactic for a killer that has the power to use potions. I think it'd also be very interesting to kind of force them to I hate to, like, take a whole different game into this, but if anybody ever played Xenoblade Chronicles, or even better yet, if you played Super Smash Bros with Shulk, he has the power to, like, he can choose between different like stances, and he has 5 stances, right? He's got defense, speed, power, you know, kill, and like defense, right? The fact that the Clown only has 2 potions is again a little bit weird. I feel like he can benefit from having a lot of potions. Instead of just 2, he should have like 5. You know, but the potions should do different things, and the affectation of the potion should you know, apply different effects. For a great example of this, because again, his iridescent potion is a great example of this, but you know, he should have a potion that causes, like, the hinder, like the pink one hinders, you know, the red, there should be like a red one that blinds you, well, you have blindness, right? There should be a, you know, a green one that it gives you oblivious, right? That way it's hard for you to hear. There should be one that if it does the movement speed, but it should do more than just movement speed, right? It should also let you do things faster. So if you throw a yellow one right in front of like a doorway and you kick it, you can kick it a lot faster, right? Or if you throw it on a generator, right, it might give people a movement speed, but it's used for you to preemptively get to the generator that you're going to get to, and then kick it faster so you can make the, you know, the effect work from it faster. There should even be like one that kind of is like an anti like a temporary anti-healing one, you know, like imagine a potion that if he hits you and then he throws it at you from afar and it causes broken, you know, that'd be something crazy that you can really, like, have the killer utilize from. Now, I don't know why there's not only more than, or, you know, why there isn't more than 2 potions in this game for the killer to use, but, you know, again, I feel like because he only has one that he benefits from, he only really has one job with it, and that's literally it. I don't really think that the actual benefits of playing as the killer with his add-ons even add all too much, except for literally one add-on in this entire game. So I mean, we'll definitely we'll break into it for sure with time. Now, that being said, though, his perk, he brings a great number of perks into the game. They're used by everybody to some degree to create very interesting builds, right? So obviously Bamboozle, right? The windows can be vaulted, right, for a certain number of time, and that's, you know, it's pretty crazy that if you vault over that window, then they can't use it. So obviously you kind of force the survivor to, you know, figure it out. Chlorophobia definitely one of those weird ones where, you know, their healing speed increases a lot when you're within a certain range of the terror radius, and then also the affectation of that speed is even slower as the perk progresses. This is a perk that's very underrated, I think, for a wide number of reasons. And I feel like whenever I see this perk is in effect, it doesn't frustrate me, but it's like, dang, I gotta heal, but I can't heal here because it's so hard. It's so unbelievably hard to heal with this perk around. And then pop, you know, became kind of a meta perk for a very long time, but then it kind of got universally applied. This pretty much adds to the concept of kicking gens. This is one of those like generator regression perks that I see very frequently, and it doesn't at all take away from, you know, the power. Like, this perk got nerfed, but even still, the nerf doesn't really change anything. Perk is still crazy powerful, and still, you know, heavily brought by a lot of people too. That regression of 20% being lost for any particular reason, that perk sucks, man. It like sucks to deal with sometimes. So I don't really want people to, you know, think that pop isn't a perk that horribly hurts the feelings, because, you know, to pop a generator and lose 20% and then apply another perk like Call of Brine, and then it starts regressing 20% and even furthermore, this perk does a lot. So it's really helpful for the killers, and it's really unhelpful for survivors. Weirdly enough, I don't I see the hypeness behind Bamboozle. It definitely does a lot of anti-looping stuff. I feel like I've never, even if it's like another killer, if anybody is using this perk, it doesn't really hurt me. Chlorophobia hurts me the most, aside from pop. Like, Chlorophobia hurts me the most out of these three. So it just does what it does. I'm not a fan of it at all. So there's that. Now, one thing that also interests me like a lot is the fact that he uses a knife. I should look into the lore behind this, because obviously, like, he's a torture killer, like, I think by lore standards, but the fact that it is a knife to me is so interesting, because also he plays with it like it's a toy. I mean, I get it though, he's a clown, but I don't know. I saw this perk or this weapon that he had, and I just like didn't really understand it. But I'm not gonna question it. And then we have his power. The tonic is obviously, you know, it's very clear from a lore perspective, right, that he experiments with anesthesiacs and muscle relaxants, right, to come up with several concoctions and formulas, right. This allows him to, again, start with 4 bottles, right, switching between afterpiece and after the tonic and the antidote. It's crazy that he has a poison and an antidote as like his power, right. Then you basically throw the bottle, and then if it is on contact, it breaks, and then it intoxicates devours. They get hindered, they can't see their vision, they can cough, they can't fast vault, and they get hindered for 15 seconds. And this makes it really easy for the killer to, because if you think about it, that's technically like a 30% movement speed if you hit a survivor with this gas. 30% is a lot of speed for you to catch up and hit and get an easy hit. Also hindering them from being able to stop it too, really, really obnoxious. It's kind of hard to deal, you know, with this bottle. But then you also have the antidote, which if it breaks, right, it starts white and then it's inactive and then it turns yellow after 2.5 seconds. That's so long, right? But you get a 5-second haste status when you benefit from the cloud, which is such a weird differentiation to use. And again, it's a haste for 5 seconds. If anyone uses it, I don't really see, like I said, I don't ever see anyone using this bottle. I think it's a really weird bottle. I think that's also really, like, people also put clown on like the lower side of things when it comes to like the you know, like the tier list, if you will, of fighting clowns. Like, I don't really see clown. The thing is that clowns kill a lot of people because this bottle is so annoying. You know, you will use every bottle in your kit or in your arsenal to throw at a killer or at a survivor rather, to just force them to take hits and take downs, and you just can't do anything about it. That being said, though, you know, the killers are pretty ruthless with these bottles, but survivors can easily just break away You know, if me and someone else is like working on a generator and a clown's coming, if we go in the same direction, we're both pretty much screwed. It's really efficient to just both split up and then go handle the business with the killer. And then we kind of reconvene later on after the you know, we figure out how to avoid them and then go back to the gen, hopefully get it cleansed, or at least somebody gets it done, right? So I feel like it's really weird. But you know, the job still somehow gets done with time, but this does just become like a really huge pain point. So there is that. Now, of course, that being said, though, you know, the fact that he can force people to be lingered and they can't, you know, they can't vault, they can't do stuff, right? It kind of is a pain over time. It's interesting. Now, the one interesting thing is that he has a freaking VHS tape add-on that literally switches the color of the clouds. That to me is like, this is the weirdest add-on ever, and this is also not that useful for anything. The thing is that here's the thing: when the bottle breaks and the tonic gets released, the gas lingers for 10 seconds. You know, 10 seconds is actually like a lot of time to have it linger. It's such a long time. Weirdly enough, I'd be so curious to understand what mentality that they have that the cloud like had as a killer. Like the clown as a killer, like I feel like people came up with their own way to play with this killer, but the devs had a different mentality of how to use it, and they were just like, you know what, let's just let it be what it is. I actually had no idea it lasted 10 seconds, because the thing is, like, if you are in a circle or in a gen or in an area, like, you know, this lasts so long. It's such a weird duration. Like, I get it though. Like, if there's like a place where the person is gonna try and like loop you around, you throw you know, you throw potions everywhere just to kind of prevent that from happening for as long as possible, and like it does what it does. Like, I get that, I do, but I don't know. I think that's so fascinating. I that's why I feel like the rework we kind of mentioned earlier, or at least the changes to the potions, would be a very helpful thing to bring to the game for the killer. But I'm not too sure. You know, reducing cooldown of time between bottle throws is an interesting one. You know, I've seen the party bottle. That's a very fun one to see. It just kind of like does nothing crazy. It just gives you bonus points for, you know, hitting people with the bottle, which is cool. Increasing the throw speed and the angles is interesting. Reload time is interesting. You know, having more bottles is obviously like a pain. The invigoration, which I think is the speed of the antidote, is again increased by a second. This is like a really weird one, because I think also survivors benefit from this. So you get a 6-second run if you somehow run through the yellow smoke. Getting blindness from, you know, the pink one, getting mangled. This is the one that I know is like the most annoying one that people use, because, like, you know, you literally get mangled and it doesn't matter. Like, you get mangled, you get hit, right? It just, like, that's just a huge pain to deal with. Increasing the size and the spread of the yellow is 20%. Again, this is weird. You know, movement speed reloading, this one's a very powerful one that I see pretty frequently, that kind of annoys me to some degree. Being hindered for 4% longer is interesting. You know, the size of the gas clouds being longer or larger too is something crazy. This is, you get a 7-second sprint if you use this one. It's like, it's so weird that this exists. Any player that's invigorated sees the aura of everyone else within 16 meters. Like, I can't understand why this is an add-on. You know, anybody who gets invigorated can see the radius of people. It's such a weird thing to do. And then you have the tattooed middle finger, where the aura of both people that are intoxicated or invigorated are revealed to you for 6 seconds, which is nice. But the thing is that using this for information is like weirdly not a thing. Nobody uses the bottle in advance to get information on where people are, and then you go investigate, right? Killers use this when they see somebody, they try to slow them down. Basically, that's the only objective that you have with this bottle, is you slow people down so you can catch up to them, so you can hit them, and then that's literally it. Then you have the redhead finger, and this one is just a freaking L. I hate this one the most, but it's because you don't expect it. If you get directly hit with the bottle, you get exposed. As long as you're intoxicated, the duration for that literally is irrelevant, because I think technically you're intoxicated for 2 seconds, but also while you're in the bubble or in the cloud, you're intoxicated, or you're exposed. So again, the only objective, because the thing is that you're exposed, but you're also still hindered. You don't not suffer from the hindered. You still hindered and you still get exposed. So the whole purpose is, like, if you're injured, the killer literally plays whack-a-mole with you until they hit you directly with the bottle when they're close to you, and then they just instantly down you. This is a weird, I know that this used to be way more powerful too, but this is a really annoying add-on. But I understand it though. It doesn't need a nerf. It doesn't need any changes. It's just a very powerful add-on that the killer has, and this add-on by itself is the thing that basically transformed the killer from being like a mid-low tier kind of killer to like instantly top tier, just because of the power that he brings to the table using this add-on. But again, I feel like this add-on is very powerful. You kind of sort of need it if you're playing a clown, you know, at like a high-end level. I get annoyed as a survivor playing against this killer with this add-on, but everything else, the problem is that every other add-on that he has is like completely useless, and I think that's a problem. That's why I feel like there's a weird need to basically rework him in order for him to be more beneficial for the killers to utilize. But also it would make his unpredictability that much more unpredictable if he had different potions. Now, if there was a really easy way to switch between all the potions as a killer, from the perspective of the, switching between all the different kinds of debuffs you can give people, I feel that'd be really cool. I personally don't mind playing clown, but I know that if it's a clown, I don't really have too much to worry about. Like I said, I feel like I would love for there to be a way for the clown to basically have a moment where he can really swap between a ton of different potions. That would just make him very unpredictable, because you might throw a purple one and you're like, cool, he's using the slowdown one, right? But then he throws a green one and it all of a sudden makes you oblivious and he leaves, right? Or goes and does something else. It'd be so crazy to see that kind of affectation come into play with this killer. And I think, again, he doesn't have any way to bring on like the Scratch Mirror Myers effect, because he has no way of being like undetectable. All of his add-ons just allow him to, throw the bottle longer or faster, or have more bottles, or put on like blindness or mangled, make people slower, make everything larger, right? That's literally it. Or like or people who are invigorated, the aura can be seen. Like, that's literally all that he does. He doesn't do or bring anything else. I would love for there to be a bottle that he can throw at his feet where he's undetectable, and that just makes it, makes him quiet. Or even like a potion where, well, he has the invigoration potion, right? And there's an add-on that lets you see the aura of people nearby, but to hear a glass break in the distance is a little bit uneasy, But again, anybody can benefit from it. I would love for them to figure out a way to make him a little bit more varied and unpredictable by giving him more potions. So again, killer, a threat in some degrees, more so than you realize, but also underwhelming at the same time. So clown is clown's alright. Like I said, I'd love for them to, like, clown doesn't need buffs, he just needs an update. An update would be a very appropriate thing to bring to the killer. That's fun.